People who do not post their photos online look calm from the outside. They say things like, "I just don't like taking pictures. It's not important to me. I'm not here for that." They sit on social media, scroll the feed, like posts, save content, but their face almost never appears there. You can see their taste and their mind, playlists, quotes, long comments under other people's posts. You can feel their presence in reactions and quiet support. But if you try to imagine what this person actually looks like, you realize you only have a vague silhouette in your head. From the outside, it looks like simple shyness or laziness. Some people think, well, he's just insecure. She's embarrassed about her looks. If someone never posts, it means they have nothing to show. In a culture that constantly says, "Show yourself," anyone who chooses to stay off stage looks suspicious. But the truth is that the absence of photos often hides a much more complex and subtle story. It is not just, "I am shy," written in invisible ink across their profile. Sometimes it is grief, sometimes it is anger, sometimes it is a quiet dignity that says, "My face is not public property." It is not only about being ashamed of your appearance. Very often it is about control, about boundaries, about trying to protect oneself from being torn apart by other people's eyes, comments, and comparisons. It is about people who are very careful about who they allow to really look at them. If you look closely, these people share a common pattern. They almost always end up behind the camera, not in front of it. They gladly photograph others, capture beautiful light, details, cities, pets. But the moment someone turns the camera towards them, tension appears inside. In a group, this person may joke, talk, carry conversations, and seem more or less comfortable. But as soon as someone says, "Let's take a photo," you can see a flash of panic in their eyes. They may joke it off, step aside, hide behind a friend, tilt their head away, say, "Go without me, it's fine, I'll take the picture." Later, when the photos are shared in a group chat, everyone else is tagged and laughing at their own faces. This person is just a name in the chat history, the one who pressed the button, not the one in the frame. And after a while, this becomes a role, the photographer, the observer, the one who documents but is never documented. From the outside, it seems like a small thing. So what if someone doesn't like photos? Is that really a problem? But on the inside, this is often tightly connected to how a person perceives themselves, their body, their face, and their basic right to be seen. There are several deep reasons why, for some people, it is much easier to disappear from the frame than to show up in it. The first reason is a distorted self-image. Our brain gets used to what it sees in the mirror, a reflection where left and right are flipped. This becomes the version of us that feels real, simply because we see it every day. When a person sees a photograph, they are faced with the version of themselves that other people see, and it feels foreign, wrong, not quite right. The nose suddenly looks bigger, the mouth looks crooked, the eyes look tired in a way we do not notice in the mirror. It is the same face, but the brain reacts to it like to a stranger. A very simple effect kicks in. The more familiar something is, the more our brain tends to like it automatically. The mirror image is familiar, the photo is not. So the photograph ends up looking uglier, stranger, more skewed than reality. From there comes the feeling, I look worse in photos than in real life, so it's better not to post anything at all. On top of that, there is negative attention to the self. When someone looks at their own photo, they rarely see the whole picture. Instead, their gaze clings to details. The nose, the chin, the skin, how the clothes sit, how weird the hair falls. The brain, like Velcro, holds on to the flaws and ignores everything that is normal or beautiful. Most people scroll past their photos and barely remember the good ones, but they remember clearly that one time when I looked terrible. They can recall the exact shirt, the angle, the lighting, the way their face was caught mid-blink. That single moment then colors the perception of all images. I always look bad in pictures. I'm not meant to be photographed. It's better if I'm not visible at all. Over time, this becomes not just an opinion, but an identity. I'm not photogenic. And if you are not photogenic, what is the point of even trying? It feels easier to opt out of the whole visual game, stay behind the curtain and say, I just don't like photos. The second reason is a history of criticism and comparison. Many people who now avoid photographs heard sharp comments about their appearance in childhood or adolescence. Sometimes it was direct mockery, fat, ugly, nose like a potato, you ruin every picture. Sometimes it was jokes that everyone laughed at, everyone except the person in the photo. In some families, appearance was used as a way to control and shame. Don't slouch, look at you. Who is going to love you like this? You can't go out with that face. You're not pretty enough to act like that. Group photos at holidays then turned into proof. Here is how much you do not match the standard everyone keeps talking about. At school or among friends, there might have been moments when someone's photo became a target. A picture got shared in a group chat with emojis and sarcastic comments. Someone zoomed in on their face, turned it into a meme, made jokes about a bad angle or a weird expression. Even if it happened once or twice, the brain remembered the main lesson. If my face is somewhere online, it is not safe. Now, every time they have to post a photo, what comes up is not just embarrassment, but anxiety. Unconscious memory says, as soon as your face appears somewhere, you are back in the line of fire. So the person quietly chooses not to participate. They say, I'm just a private person. And it is true, but underneath there is also, I don't want to be laughed at again. The third reason is fear of other people's gaze, amplified by the spotlight effect. Many people feel that as soon as their photo goes online, everyone starts scrutinizing it, hunting for flaws, discussing how they look. This is not narcissism, but a specific form of anxiety. It feels as if a spotlight has been turned on you, and the entire room is watching only you. In reality, most people are too busy thinking about themselves to analyze you. But the anxious mind does not care about statistics. Inside, it feels like the whole internet is leaning in and staring at the tiniest lines on your face. This internal spotlight makes tiny things feel like catastrophes. One random fold on clothing turns into, I look sloppy. One odd angle of the face turns into, I'm not photogenic at all. A slightly forced smile becomes, I look fake and awkward. People will see right through me. To avoid going through that again, it feels safer not to step onto the stage in the first place. If there is no photo, there is nothing to analyze, nothing to mock, nothing to misunderstand. Silence becomes a shield. The fourth reason is exhaustion from being on display. For some people, every appearance on the internet feels like a small performance. Even a simple story photo feels like a mini press release. Everything should be curated, designed, on brand. If they do not have the energy to turn their life into a show, they feel the urge to step out of the game. They are not necessarily afraid of how they look. They are tired of the idea that everything must mean something. Post a selfie and suddenly it becomes a statement about your mood, your confidence, your lifestyle, your status. The pressure to communicate something with every image can be overwhelming. So they choose to communicate differently, through long texts, music, humor, private conversations. They would rather show you what is going on in their head than what is going on with their hair. The fifth reason is the value of privacy and inner life. Not everyone wants to turn their appearance into content. For some, the ability to remain unseen is a form of psychological freedom. As long as their face is not attached to the profile, it is easier to feel that their thoughts, feelings, and inner world matter more than their surface. These people can be very active observers. They read, analyze, feel deeply, experience other people's stories in detail. They notice nuances, track the mood in a room, pick up on tone and pauses. That is why demands to show yourself more can feel like a violation of how their attention naturally works. Very often, they have a strong internal locus of identity. Their sense of who I am is built more on what they think and feel than on how they are seen. For them, a public photo is not just an image, but a piece of self they would rather keep in their own hands than give to the outside world. Sometimes, the choice not to post photos is a quiet protest against a culture of constant self-display. When everything around screams, "Show yourself, be a brand, your face is your capital," something inside them answers, "No." That no is not always fully conscious, but it protects their right to live as a person, not as a storefront. But behind that choice, there is often pain too. Invisibility gives a sense of safety, but with it comes loneliness. A person may think, "I do not want to be seen," and at the same time, silently suffer from the feeling that nobody really notices them. They may want someone to finally look at them for real, without judgment and demands. Yet when the real chance to be seen appears, their body automatically drags them back into the shadows. Hide, this is more familiar and safe. The more this repeats, the stronger the pattern becomes. I am the one who is never in the photos, who is always behind the camera. It is important to understand, people who do not post their photos are not automatically broken or afraid of everything. Very often they are both vulnerable and deeply attentive to their inner world. Their way of coping with anxiety and staying whole is simply to avoid adding yet another layer of public self in the form of an image. Sometimes there is another piece of history, a loss of control over their image. Maybe at some point their photo was posted without permission, used as a joke, made into an avatar, forwarded without consent. Even if it looked harmless from the outside, what stayed inside was the sense that my face is something people can take away from me. From that comes the urge to treat their own image as something intimate. Such a person may show up in offline life just fine, but online they prefer their digital trace to stay abstract. Thoughts, texts, music, reposts, but not their face. Sometimes this is their only way to feel, "I still belong to myself." What can you do if this feels like you? First, stop splitting yourself into normal and weird, based solely on whether you post selfies. The current social norm is to show your face, but that does not make it the only healthy option. Your right not to turn your face into content is just as valid as someone else's right to do so. Second, ask yourself honestly, do I avoid posting pictures because I truly feel comfortable that way, or because I am convinced in advance that any image of me will be not good enough? If inside you hear the sentence, "I don't deserve to be seen," this is no longer just a matter of taste, it is a wound. If there is a lot of pain in this, you can start with very small steps, not for social media, but for yourself. Take a few photos only for private viewing, with no obligation to show them to anyone. Look at them and try to notice not only what is wrong, but what simply is. The eyes, the posture, the mood, the light, the aliveness. You can gently experiment with how your brain gets used to your own image. If you regularly see yourself not only in the mirror but in neutral photos, over time the sense of foreignness can soften. Not as a duty to love every feature, but as a chance to at least stop treating your face as an enemy. It also helps to become aware of how the internal spotlight works. Most of the time, other people do not zoom in on every tiny detail of you the way your mind does. They see the whole, the mood, the presence, the overall vibe. What feels like a catastrophic flaw to you is often just one human feature among many that they barely register. You can slowly train a different way of looking. When you look at other people's photos, notice how rarely you actually sit and hunt for their imperfections. Most of the time, you read their energy, context, expression. With practice, you can begin to apply the same lens to yourself. And one more important thing. Not everyone has to reach a point where they regularly post photos. Some people genuinely feel better as a voice behind the camera, as text, as drawing, as an anonymous figure. Health here is not about forcing yourself to put yourself out there at any cost, but about having a choice, to hide or to show up, without either option being driven by self-hatred. People who do not post their photos often have very fine sensitivity underneath. They notice nuances and get overwhelmed easily by attention. Their silence in the feed does not always mean emptiness. Sometimes it is simply their way of saying, I want to be seen as a person, not as a product shot. And if you recognize yourself in this, the most important first step is not necessarily to start posting selfies. Sometimes the first step is to allow yourself to exist, even if you are still behind the camera for now. To admit that your right to a life, to feelings, to depth, does not depend on how many photos of you are online.